try to get the lighting right. So
Well, you look beautiful and the lighting was amazing. So
okay, good. I was like, which corner is better, with the blinds up, with the blinds down?
Hi, Selena.
How are you
This
doing?
is Candace. I'm the one that's been messaging you.
Yeah,
How are you doing today?
I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for taking the time to allow us to spotlight you during
Yeah.
this conversation today. I just wanted to quickly say hello. Um, I will be on the call, but you won't be seeing my screen, and I won't be saying anything.
Okay.
Um, but I will follow up with you after the interview to let you know once this has been posted. And just be casual and relaxed and be yourself. Kiara is great. She's gonna make this more of a conversation than an interview. So just enjoy it.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome. All
awesome.
right,
If
you can
you're
get started
ready,
whenever you're ready.
yeah, we can go ahead and jump in. If you're ready, you ready, Selena?
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome. So I'll do a little bit of an intro as well.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, hello, Selena, and thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me during this Black Girls Lift Spotlight interview. We're so delighted to have you here today. As I'm sure you already know, the point of this interview is just for members to get encouraged by your story and learn a little bit more about who you are. And I'm really excited to connect with you. You look amazing. And again, I'm representing Black Girls Lift. We're an organization aimed at teaching, motivating, and inspiring women to work out. So I'd love to just jump right in and ask you a few questions if you're ready.
Sounds great. Let's go.
Awesome. So, just to begin with, can you tell our viewers just a little bit about, who you are? What's your story?
Sure. So, going all the way back to just like growing up, I was very active. I played volleyball from like sixth all the way through college. And so, exercising and being active and staying committed was, just a way of life for so long. And then, once I finished undergrad, I went on to vet school, and that's when the slowdown happened. Just, late nights, early morning, eating all kinds of stuff at all times of day. And I gained a lot of weight. I was probably pretty close to like 200 pounds when I finished at
Wow.
school. And then just by, going into the workforce, I did naturally just lose some weight. And then after working for a few years, a friend of mine was like, let's join this boot camp. And I was like, okay, cool. Let's do that. So that's really when I got back into fitness, but, all while, that journey was kind of happening. I was a mom and, working a full-time job and just all those, life things that we pick up, along the way. So, I'm a mother of three. I am a veterinarian in addition to a personal trainer.
Wow.
But I have true that it's okay to have multiple passions. Like I thought all along, like, okay, you're going to go to vet school, you're going to be a veterinarian, that's what you're going to do, and marriage and kids and all that. And then I kind of just, was maybe getting a little burnout, and I loved working out, and there was, always during a workout, I didn't think about like those life stressors or work or things like that. It was just like, yeah, I'm sweating, my heart's racing, and there was all those good things. But I realized like it's okay to do more than one thing. And that's when I
Mhm.
started exploring, being a personal trainer. And that work in a sense, it was just like when I would see my clients, I'm like, let's go, you could do this, and I was always so pumped for them too, just like you
Mhm.
showed up, and that takes a big step to say, okay, yeah, I could stay in bed, but I'm gonna go do this workout. Um so yeah, just combining still two parts of health, because animal health is really important, and we know that having pets in our lives, that actually helps lift our mood, and it gives us, a sense of like, I may not have a lot of people in my life, but this animal needs me to care for it. So
Oh, yeah.
definitely, combining, physical health and cardiovascular health, and then just like the emotional health and commitment that comes with, being a pet owner as well. And my cat is down here, and I'm trying to make sure he doesn't jump into my lap. So I'm trying to keep him content as well. But yeah, that's kind of like, very athletic growing up, but hit that place in life where, health and fitness weren't the focus anymore. And I really feel like that happens to a lot of people, either later in life or even coming from high school and going to college. We talked about the freshman 15, and that was a thing when I was, graduating high school in 1996, and it's still a thing. So I'm like, we know it's a thing, so we should, be proactive to try to prevent it and, help young people transition from your parents cook your meals, they tell you what time to go to bed, they tell you what time to get up, to now you've got all this freedom and, maybe I only need 2 hours of sleep. So, just enlightening that transition, because you've got the 15 pounds, and then maybe the sophomore year it's 3 pounds, and then maybe 5 pounds. And then, we graduate college and we're like 30 pounds heavier than we were. And that's hard to, reverse, especially if you don't know the lifestyle changes that it takes.
I'm still chewing on, you said so many different things. Like, you're a mom, you're a veterinarian, like you said you were 200 pounds and you managed to lose all of that weight. There's so much in your story to unpack. So first of all, how do you balance being a veterinarian full-time and training?
Yeah, so and I'm like 3/4 time now, but for for at least 2 years I was full-time veterinarian, and then I would train so veterinary work ended at 6 p.m. and then I would start training my clients at 7:30, and I definitely needed that buffer, because that hour and a half buffer, because pets don't always say, oh, doc's closed, I'm not going to get sick 5 minutes before the office shuts down. So but I was able to juggle the two, because once again, training was my newfound passion. And so when you've got that passion, there's just this extra level of energy or fuel for your passion. So but then a few things happened, and I realized I'm just going in too many directions at one time. And so for veterinarians, there is definitely a factor of burnout. And I think I was kind of getting there. So it was good that, financially I could say, okay, I'm going to cut back those hours a little bit to give myself a little bit more time to kind of balance also, home and kids and all of that, and be better committed to, being a mom and a trainer. So the 3/4 schedule I'm much happier. When it's time to go, when the veterinary day is done, I'm like, okay, I did enough for today. We're going to come back tomorrow. And, then I can put my mom and trainer hats on as well.
Wow, I'm just so inspired by that. And also you mentioned going to school and gaining the weight, and then finding time to lose that. How did that process play on your self-esteem, or just how you saw yourself?
Sure. So, and definitely I can remember in vet school trying to put clothes on, what is going on, are my clothes shrinking? You don't realize, because weight truly sneaks up on you. If you're not checking in, either weighing yourself daily or once a week, or checking your stats, it's really easy to lose track of these little inches that are sneaking up on you. So part of it was just, once I finished school and getting on a more regular sleeping and eating, and being less sedentary, because a lot of time with a day at the veterinary's office, you're on your feet a lot, because you're going from one exam room to the next, and you're down on the floor with the big dog, standing up with the cat, or a little dog, and you walk in to go from this exam room to the other. So just that transition from academia to workforce, that did help me lose some weight. And then I had done like a few kind of change in eating plans, which also helped some. But you would ask a question, or there was a list of questions about like how to maintain your hair. And honestly, like one time I had started working out, but I'm natural, and back then I wore my hair straight much more often than I do now. And I didn't want to have to straighten my hair, so I was like, I'll work out tomorrow or the next day or the next day. So I started, gaining the weight back because I was like, I want my hair to look nice and I don't want to sweat my hair out all the time. So that's definitely a very realistic, struggle and valid question too.
Yeah. How do you deal with that? I was going to ask you that question anyway, but since you brought it up.
Yeah. So most often I just wear my natural texture. Today I tried a little harder, but I actually had interviewed or kind of questioned a few friends like last year, just like about how they, manage to work out and balance, not looking crazy when you walk out the front door. And I've truly found that wearing your natural texture, I feel like that's much more forgiving as far as being active, because, a little bit of humidity and your curls get bigger, and, big natural hair is a great thing. So typically if my hair is, just in its natural texture, it's much easier to still get my workout in and not have to worry like, okay, what am I going to do with my hair? A lot of people talk about braids or, and I'll, put French braids in my hair, and that'll last for, a few days and things like that. So I believe like, while the natural hair revolution has come along for, just being healthier and better for us, it also, rolls over to, allowing us to, be more active and not have to worry about like, oh, I, sweated my relaxer out or my, my press and go or whatever.
No, that's why I have braids in right now. But you're right, the natural texture, it's a lot easier. And I know everyone's natural texture is like very different, like not making assumptions, but just being okay, like embracing that, has been so helpful. And so for you, when you were kind of, making the transition into working out more again and getting back in the gym, was it hard for you to find the confidence to do that? Or like, how did you motivate yourself?
So when I had done like quick weight loss, which was like an eating regimen to help me lose weight. And I did lose weight. And then like I would go to, this discount gym, and all I would do was like get on the elliptical or get on the treadmill, because it was intimidating. Like I'd be like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do with these machines, or, the machines had the description, but it's like one of those things like, stick out like a sore thumb, like trying to read, okay, I do this and I put the weights there. So I would literally just go get on the treadmill, go get on the elliptical, and leave. So it wasn't really until I joined a boot camp, and then that eventually transitioned into more weightlifting versus just running and doing burpees and jumping jacks and things like that. And that was a kind of a safe place to learn, because it was a group, and so you could kind of buddy up, or someone would you'd see someone doing it one way and you're like, oh, okay, and then you also had a trainer that was there to say, okay, don't do it like that, that's not right, or do it this way. So I felt like that was a safe place to learn how to better exercise, aside from just cardio or jump ropes or push-ups and things like that. So I think definitely, if you're new to fitness, linking up with a group, because there's kind of strength in numbers, literally, so that, you can maybe find a buddy that just help kind of pull you along if you're not, completely confident to just right in. And there are some people that'll just walk into the gym like, and be perfectly okay with not knowing, and that's great for them. But I think the reality is a lot of the time gyms can be intimidating, I've even seen people post on social media, like, you know, when the new year comes, like, oh, there's going to be all the people with their New Year's resolutions, you know, taking up the mission. And I'm just like, we all started somewhere. You know, you didn't
True.
know everything when you first went to the gym. So I'm always like, you know, if I see someone that needs help out, you know, like if you want me to help you, I'm glad to help. So.
Oh, that's so good because I definitely went through that, like going to the gym and being so intimidated by all the machines.
Yeah.
And just kind of like knew what to do. So I'd kind of like watch people and be like, I'll just do what they're doing, you know. So you mentioned you're a mother. How many children do you have?
So I have 3 kids. I've only delivered 2. I don't want to, you know, carrying a baby and bringing a baby into the world is such a task and such a right that I don't ever want to take credit for having done it 3 times. But, my middle son is my son by marriage, but he lives with us, and I'll, you know, bless him out. I'll love him just like I carried him, you know, the whole way. So yeah, 3 kids. One, my daughter is going into her junior year at Georgia Southern. My
Wow. I'm sorry, you look like you're like 25. How does that work?
42.
Wow.
Then the middle son is going to be in high school, so he'll start his first year of high school with virtual learning, but it'll be safe. And then we have the youngest one will be starting first grade. So
oh my God. Wow. So that's literally amazing to me. With being a veterinarian and investing in 3 children, how do you maintain consistency with like your workout schedule?
So with that, like originally I used to work out first thing in the morning, but with the change in schedule, I now, you know, typically more often will work out in the evenings. And, you know, there are times where I'm like, okay, I'll be in the garage or I'll be in the basement or in the sunroom, you know, come get me if you need me. But the kids pretty much know the routine, like it's going to take me 45 minutes and this is my time. I'm taking it. I think that's really important. And that's like in the whole process of adding, you know, the personal training to my life. You know, I really believe like life and, you know, your kids, your family, your job, your, you know, your church, they will take your time. And if you don't make a conscious effort to say, I'll do all these other things, but for sure, I'm going to do this one thing. And even if that one thing is, you know, a heavy workout or just a walk around the block or riding your bike or just sitting and being quiet or whatever it is, you have to take time. And each day will just, you know, oh, give me 15 minutes here, 10 minutes there. And, you know, I got to get up earlier. I got to stay out later. And next thing you know, you're like, no more time in the day. So definitely got to just kind of put your foot down. I think as women as well, we're just such givers that, you know, we'll just give it all away and then look back and, you know, regret like, man, I wanted to do that and I didn't get to do it. So my family, I think, knows like this is mom time. My husband knows. I'll just say I'm in. You know, that's where since the pandemic, I've been doing all my workouts just from my garage, which is it's working. I mean, it's not the most glamorous spot, but definitely has enabled me to, you know, keep at it. So I do appreciate that little spot there.
I love what you said about like making sure we're taking time for us and not like giving it all away. Because I think as, you know, it's hard to generalize, but I do think as women, we are very naturally giving and you know, nurturing. And even if people don't feel that way naturally, society kind of pushes us into that a lot of times. So I love that you take time for you. What advice would you give someone who maybe feels like they're too busy to work out or they just don't have the time?
Sure. So, you know, when I first got back into working out, I did it very early in the morning. I think we started at 5:15 and I would say, or 5:15 a.m. and I would, my kids are sleeping, by that time my husband was already out the door for work. So I'm like, nobody at this moment, like nobody needs breakfast. They don't need, where are my shoes? And so it sometimes we do have to sacrifice some sleep for, getting up a little bit earlier. And even if you're just like meditating, that's your time, but, for me, it was getting out the door, going to the group workout. And then once the workout was done, okay, that's done. Time to transition to get the kids up, get them on the bus, your homework, where's your backpack? So, it most definitely might be like earlier in the morning, later at night, or like part of your lunch break. But, there is a way to find time. And, some moms or some people will find like, okay, Timmy's at baseball practice, so I'm going to, run around the field or something. And it's those little things. And I think those little victories too, when you're able to like sneak in something on top of something else. So I definitely understand being busy, but I feel like it's either do it earlier in the middle of the day or late, or, just a quick, 10-minute run down the road and back or something. And I think it's okay for women to say, Timmy, I'm going to do that for you in 30 minutes, I promise, but mommy has to do this thing, or for your husband, or, your job, or whichever. But once again, just claiming that time for yourself.
The theme of our episode, claiming your time, reclaiming. So how often do you think, or would you say that the average person needs to work out in order to actually see like physical results?
So it really, I think it depends definitely on what result you're striving for. If we're just trying to, shed a few pounds, like 5-10 pounds, I would say like 3 times a week should get it. If you're really trying to get into like tip top shape, that's a 6 days on, 1 day off kind of regimen. And then just, mixing up the variety also, or the type of workout that you're doing. If you're doing, I'm going and walking 5 miles, but it's taking you, 2 hours to do that. That's not an extreme, well, yeah, I guess, yeah, you could definitely do it. That's not a strenuous workout. So although it takes you a while to do it, the rate of, that you're burning fat and calories isn't, very high. So I think would take a little bit longer, to get results. And it also depends on where you're starting as well. People that are, I guess, in less shape or more out of shape, they're naturally, as they get moving, they're gonna burn fat faster because you have more to burn, so to say, versus someone that maybe just has, 15 pounds to lose. As they lose weight, it's also going to get a little harder to lose weight because you're getting healthier. And so your body's like, you got to push harder to get the same result that you were doing. So, but definitely, I think for most people, trying to get in at least 3 times a week is ideal for, either starting out or at least trying to maintain, your healthy lifestyle.
And I feel like 3 times sounds doable,
Yeah.
like not overwhelming. And I want to talk about your food, your diet too. So what does your diet consist of? What is a day in the life for you, in terms of your eating?
So right now it's pretty unrestricted. I have found that since I with working as a veterinarian, I go to that job in the mornings and I'm supposed to be done around 2. So I typically will only I do kind of like a modified fast. So basically I'll start with like my coffee and cream in the morning, and then I'll start eating around like right when I get off work. And I've found that with my current schedule that has helped me maintain my weight. Basically, I'm just it's the form of intermittent fasting. where I'm just giving my body a longer fasting window to burn up the calories kind of that I consumed the day before. And then I try to do all of my eating, around 2 o'clock up until 8 or 9 o'clock, just trying to push all of my meals in that smaller window. And there's lots of different ways to do that. Like some people would start eating earlier in the day, but then they have to finish earlier in the day too. So then you've got all these evening hours of like, seeing your family eat or seeing the commercials for like Longhorn and things like that to make you think about food. So, but right now I'm pretty much eating what I want to. Normally I've done some bodybuilding competitions, so in getting prepared for those, now that diet very restricted. It's, egg whites and plain oatmeal and tilapia and asparagus and lots of water and, just multiple meals. And a lot of the time it's the same meal every time, throughout the day, but it's very, very lean, lots of fiber. A lot of the time the carbohydrates are super, super low. Just trying to help you get as lean as possible. So right now I'm just kind of eating what I want.
Listen, COVID, I feel that. It's so interesting to hear you say that because I feel like when I wake up, I'm usually not hungry and I don't usually, sometimes I'll have breakfast, but I don't usually eat until like 12, 1, 2. And I always thought there was something like wrong with me. I'm like, why don't I want to eat in the morning? So It's interesting that you do that like intentionally.
Yeah. And, right now, as long as I'm like busy at work, which typically I am pretty busy, it's okay. Now, clients love to feed their veterinarians. So like yesterday, one of our reps, they brought us in 2 dozen Krispy Kremes. And so I'm like, don't go in the break room. But so, as long as I'm staying busy, it's not, the hunger, even if it kind of picks up, it's not just, I think if I were sitting at like my desk all day and, it could creep into my mind, like, you need to go get a snack. Yeah, we definitely need a snack. So staying busy definitely, makes it easier to fast for that long.
Yeah. Do you, I'm assuming the answer is no, but I could be wrong. Do you count your calories at all?
Not much. There are times where I'll just kind of like do like a group challenge with my clients where I'll track my food more. Like I've used my FitnessPal, the app, a lot. And I think it is, I guess depending on, what your goals are, it is a great way to actually see what your numbers are, because it's really easy to think, oh yeah, this granola is good for me, but there's a lot of fat in granola. So I think when we have it in front of our faces that way, it truly puts things into perspective. So I don't think calorie counting is bad as long as you're just using it as a tool to help you, stay on course. So yeah, I mean, if that's I would say for, if that's the way that you're able to track your food or what you're consuming, and you're able to stick with it, I think that's great. Right now, with just eating as I want, I don't use my FitnessPal or anything like that. I just go to
I don't even want to know. So you mentioned that, for you, in addition to being a vet, like this is kind of like a passion for you and you love training. What is it that you love so much, or like what benefits do you feel like it brings to your life?
So a lot of the time when I'm working out, like I'll see, when we could go to the gym more often, I would see weights and I'm like, I don't know if I can lift that, but there's only one way to know, and that's to try it. So for me personally, like remembering like, man, I could not pick up that 50-pound dumbbell like last year, but this year I got it up and I could do it more times. So that's very motivating to me. And I love seeing clients, I'm like, okay, this is what you're going to use. Like, I can't do that. I'm like, I feel like you can. So there's only one way to know. we're going to try it. If you can't do it, we know, okay, we're going to do some other lower weights, and then we'll work our way up to that.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to celebrate like victories with clients, and even some clients telling me like, I remember when I started and like the 8-pound weights were so heavy, and now I'm like up to 20-pound weights. That's gets me like super excited. So, challenging myself and, seeing or helping clients realize you're probably stronger than you realize, or you can run farther than you realize. And, hearing clients say, I'm not a runner. I'm like, well, but you're on a treadmill and you're running. So therefore you are now a runner. So little victories like that. And then, getting reports like I'm down 2 pounds. I'm like, that is great. I love, celebrating people and helping, people see like I'm better, or I'm healthier, or my back doesn't hurt like it did, or like I walked up the flight of steps and I wasn't winded when I got to the top. So little things like that are really what, get me excited.
Yeah, I love that. I think with a lot of spiritual and emotional growth, it's hard and it's great, but you can't always like see it, or there's not always like a tangible anything for you to know that you're growing unless you're presented with a hard situation and you're like, I grew. Like you said, with like the physical stuff, you can actually like see the difference. You see the change in your body, and like that. I can only imagine how encouraging that is for you to be a part of that, not just for yourself, but with your clients.
For sure.
Yeah. So have you had clients that have had injuries at all, or how do you, advise people who are maybe coping with or dealing with an injury?
Sure. Yeah, I have had some clients that have come to me with like, my knees are bad. I have a bad back, and we, or like wrist injuries. So I try to, think about, okay, well, this is the workout we're doing. How can I modify, either lower weight or shorter range of motion, or instead of doing this one, we're going to do it this way. So, and that's also very interesting too, because it's problem solving, which, like this is the struggle, but we've got this goal that we're trying to reach. So somewhere in between here, we can, find our way through it. And I think it definitely, having clients that aren't just super healthy already or not having any ailments, it makes me a better trainer too. It makes me have to, put my thinking cap on like, well, this is a muscle we need to work, or, we need to get our heart rates up. So we can't do it this way for everyone, but we can, do it this way for you.
Yeah. No, that's so wise. And like you mentioned, it is a lot of problem solving. And I guess you could kind of look at it as like a creative, like fun puzzle, right? Like how do I get my workout in and still work around all this other stuff going on with me? I'm curious, when you had competed and you said bodybuilding competitions, or were your kids and your husband in the audience?
Yes. My first competition would have been in 2015. And it was a lot of fun. I was so scared because naturally I am not a person that wants to be the center of attention. But it was a lot of fun. My mom was there, my husband, all three of the kids. I think my sister-in-law was there. I believe my brother was there. My best friend came into town from Alabama, and my competition number was 42, and so I could hear my dad in the crowd, being the great dad that he is, like 42.
Oh.
Like some of my workout buddies, they were there, they were jumping in, so it was a really amazing time. I was scared to pieces, but I'm like, I'm in it now. I signed up. I said I was going to be there, so we're going out on the stage and doing our best. So, but that definitely, that first one got me hooked, and I competed several times after that. So.
Oh, I love it. Did you feel like competing like gave you even more confidence in your body and to be in front of people?
It definitely got me comfortable with being scantily clad. There's not much to these bathing suits. You don't ever get wet. And, you know, it definitely, the process of, you know, going from this body and pushing yourself for what is relatively a small amount of time, because you know, you do all this working out and then you have this period that's called the cut, where you're trying to cut a lot of, or whatever body fat that you have, so you can get lean to be on stage. And so that window is typically like 12 weeks or so. So it's relatively small, but when you think about like, okay, 12 weeks, no sodas, no dining out, no ice cream, no cake, or like, you know, if there's an event and your family's eating, you know, French fries and pizza, and you're like, have my fish and potatoes, thank you. So, but it is, I mean, it is very, like when you go through the process and you see your body changing, it's very encouraging and motivating. Like, you know, you look back and you're like, wow, I did that. That was me. You know, I pushed myself to that next level. So that was very motivating, and also, you know, a good reminder, like if I'm in a tough spot, like, okay, Selena, you've put yourself in tough spots, or you've gone through tough things, and it's a good thing to reflect on, like you can do this again.
Yeah, I love that. I competed in pageants for a little while, which is maybe different, but a lot of those similarities of like working really hard for something, reminding yourself that anything is possible, you know, and being proud of yourself afterwards, no matter what the outcome is, just that you've like gone through the process.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of it is like, you know, presentation and like standing on stage and looking like, although every muscle in your body is like, I'm trying to, you know, hold that position, but you got to do it with a smile and you can't grimace. So there is a lot of, you know, there's sport in it, but a lot of it is pageantry, the two coming together. So, you know, because there's a whole part where you do presentation and you want to, you know, put your own spin on it, and you get to choose your music and, you know, things like that. So, but yeah, I mean, definitely a younger person, I could not have done a pageant. Like my legs would have been complete noodles. So I feel like, you know, as I've gotten older and maybe just realized like, I'm not perfect and no one else is, and it's okay. Kind of, you know, gain some confidence and just knowing like we're all just out here doing our best, and hopefully we can create some good memories and, you know, make some friends, you know, with the pageants and the competition. So.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that you just set such a great example for what it means to be just a real woman in the world, striving to be the best version of herself. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect. You know, like you mentioned, now you're kind of eating whatever you want. And I feel like that'll be liberating probably for people who have been looking in the mirror and they're like, I'm a failure. I'm not eating what I should. So just thank you for setting that very real example.
Yeah. And I think, you know, in reality, any trainer, I don't think there's any trainer that is 100% on their diet all the time or on their workouts all the time, because it can get exhausting, and, you know, our bodies sometimes need a break, and it's okay to do that. And even if it's not like an intentional reset, but you're just like, I just don't feel like working out today, or I just need to eat something that makes my soul feel good. If that's the exception, you know, it's okay. And I think it's really important not to beat ourselves up for that, because, you know, sometimes that emotional part of it can just make us derail more in the sense of like, well, I messed up my diet, I may as well just scrap the whole thing. I think it is okay to just need a candy bar and know like, okay, I needed it, I had it, I'm okay with it, and now I'm gonna go back away from the candy bar.
Yes. So, you know, all of those things, balance, being kind to yourself. We talked a lot about reclaiming your time. I feel like you just had so many great nuggets of wisdom to share with us. Do you have any, you know, other last words of encouragement or wisdom for people who might be watching?
Gosh, I don't know anything in particular, but I do, like, whenever my kids leave for the day, and I try to tell myself this as well, just, you know, and when my kids are getting on the bus or getting out of the car or whatever, or, you know, as I'm talking to Sierra, my daughter, Sierra, just do your best, you know, whatever it is, as long as it's yours and it's your best. Because it's really easy to, you know, get caught up in comparison, especially with social media, because, you know, how many times did I take that picture to get the right one? But, you know, we don't see that. All we see is amazing.
We don't see the camera roll with like 80 pictures.
Yeah, for just one that gets posted. So I just, in everything, I try to just do my best and know that sometimes my best isn't like, it could have turned out different if someone else did it, but as long as, like, in my heart, I'm putting my best forward, that's really, you know, what I try to, I guess, live by, and, you know, my kids as well.
And how do people get in touch with you? How do they stay connected?
Sure. So I am on Instagram at For the Health of It LLC. Facebook, I am also For the Health of It, I think, LLC. And then also Selena Chandler Taylor on Facebook. It's just my personal page. The location that we're going to start going back into the gym come August 3rd, I think we planned. We work in Gwinnett Place Mall, which there's not a whole lot going on in there, but there is a full gym in there that clients can, you know, sign up for. I don't know, do I put my cell phone number in this or no?
Maybe not. I can DM you.
I don't think I want to go that far. But,
I know, right?
So yeah, but definitely I'm always always got my phone nearby. So Instagram and Facebook messages or, you know, posts for us, those are always, you know, at the ready. I actually watched your live a few nights ago when you were talking about, you know, starting a business.
Oh, nice.
I could feel your passion on that the screen.
Oh, I love that. I'm like, I'm so honored. Like, I'm stalking you, you're stalking me.
Right.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to have this conversation today. We'll be posting this interview to the Black Girls Lift website, and we'll share it with you, obviously, when it goes up. And we hope to stay connected. I'm just so thankful that you were even just willing to, as you mentioned, your time is precious, so give of some of your time today.
It was definitely a pleasure. I'm glad that we kind of crossed paths for sure.
Yeah, awesome. And I will be in touch.
Okay.
So have a great afternoon.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.